On March 11th of this year, we saw one of the biggest JPEG transactions in the history of humanity. A single piece of digital art on that day sold for $69 million. Now look, $69 million can buy you a lot of things. You could buy a private jet, you could buy a building, but you probably didn't know that it could also buy you just a single piece of digital art. So in this video, we're gonna try to understand the absurdity of this sale, the absurdity of NFTs in general, non-fungible tokens, and at the end, I wanna give you my take on it, my experience with NFTs, and talk a little bit about the potential risks when you're embarking in your first NFT. So if that sounds interesting, make sure that you subscribe to the channel to join our beautiful community here where we're learning stuff literally every day. So first of all, an NFT stands for a non-fungible token. So what that is basically a unit of data, let's say like a code that is stored in a blockchain. And this unit of data certifies that a digital asset is authentic and unique. Therefore, it's not interchangeable. So an example of a fungible token is a $100 bill, for example, because you could exchange a $100 bill for, 10 $10 bills or $25 bills, right? Like you could do a number of different transactions with that, but with a non-fungible token, that's not possible. Each unit of data is unique and it's not interchangeable. And this is what set the stage for this $69 million sale that BEEPLE had. So let's see if we can understand a little more through this video and then we'll continue to talk about it.
These works of art exist in the digital world, and now they're worth millions of dollars. It's part of an explosion in the market for NFTs, digital tokens that prove ownership of things like digital art that you can't even touch. The center of this virtual gold rush is Mike Winkelmann, better known as BEEPLE.
Like, I never thought I could sell my work like this.
Then he heard about NFTs.
Kind of late September, early October, people kept hitting me up being like, oh, you gotta look at this NFT thing.
2 months later, he netted $3.5 million selling art backed by NFTs.
Definitely just like mind-boggling.
In March, Christie's, a 225-year-old auction house that previously only sold physical art,
previous in the collections of 3 kings of England, at 90 million,
auctioned an entirely digital BEEPLE for millions of dollars.
Is it a bubble? I think there is a very good chance there could be a bubble.
So why are NFTs and digital art getting so expensive so quickly? The speculation in this market is so wild that when a $95,000 Banksy was burned and then resold, it raised a staggering $400,000 as an NFT.
We sort of value things. It's like if everybody wants it, well then it has value. I mean, what makes a Louis Vuitton purse have value? It's just brown like leather purse.
To understand who pays, it's important to understand NFTs.
So it's sort of like saying, do you think a web page is valuable? Well, I don't know, it could be.
NFT stands for non-fungible token, essentially a digital signature backed by blockchain technology that proves ownership of something. Unlike Bitcoin, which are all identical by design, NFTs are unique. To some degree, what NFTs offer for sale is the idea of scarcity. It's possible to buy a token that represents art in the physical world, but NFTs also back digital assets like an image or even a tweet. The current bid on Jack Dorsey's first tweet is $2.5 million.
That's crazy.
This cat meme recently sold for $600,000.
Last week, Logan Paul made over $5,081,490 selling digital trading cards of himself known as NFTs.
For BEEPLE, his daily dedication to his craft helped drive his popularity as he posted art he created from his home in Charleston, South Carolina.
So May 1st, 2007, I started doing a sketch a day, every single day, start to finish.
And year after year, BEEPLE gave them away and built an audience online.
Sharing my stuff and sort of putting it out there, I think actually makes the stuff more valuable because it makes it more popular.
His rise to broader fame as an artist happened seemingly overnight. Back in the olden days of 2020, BEEPLE's NFT-backed Crossroads sold for $66,666.
I was like, oh my God, I sold a piece for $66,000. It was just like insane.
In December, BEEPLE sold $3.5 million worth of art in one day.
That's life-changing.
On February
money.
26th, Crossroads resold on the secondary NFT market for $6.6 million, of which BEEPLE got 10%.
And so now, fast forward 4 months, and it's like 6.6 million. It's just like, Yeah, it's a lot. It's a thing. I don't know.
Then in March, Christie's sells the 5,000 image montage by BEEPLE for nearly $70 million. That makes BEEPLE the third most expensive living artist in the world.
It's like, okay, now the next thing happening, now the next thing happening, the next thing happening. And it's just like, now Today Show calling, okay.
His work can also cross into topics that can be offensive or provocative. So is BEEPLE trolling us with his art and with this idea of selling something you can get for free off his Instagram?
So I'm like, okay, well, that's, not a totally invalid argument. What can I do to sort of like nullify that argument?
Back in December, BEEPLE provided a physical product along with the NFT for his digital art.
This you can't get on Instagram. This is like, a physical thing that you can, if you're buying the NFT, you get this. So it really kind of instantly sort of like changes it.
I actually did a video and a Shopify store review video talking about my new favorite Shopify store. That's something we do on this channel sometimes. We do cover e-commerce, and they sold that exact same thing. It was a little frame like that displays your digital art. So it was perfectly aligned with NFTs, and that's why I thought it was so cool. And it's cool to see people now mentioning it himself. This is quite interesting.
And it's like, you don't even really need to understand the NFT part. Like, you're buying this.
But for Christie's, being all digital is what made BEEPLE's artwork all the more unique and valuable.
It's really a radical gesture to offer for sale something without any objecthood. And we might as well lean into that.
BEEPLE's day job is as a graphic designer with clients like Louis Vuitton, Nike, and Apple.
So I don't really like the term artist because it sounds very pretentious and douchey. Like, I would never be like, I'm an artist.
Still, he's regularly compared to Banksy and Warhol, artists who undermine the notion of owning art, and also to that Italian artist who mocked the fine art market by taping a banana to the wall.
This banana duct taped to a wall. It's Maurizio Catalan's latest work of art. It's called The Comedian.
I think if you looked at a lot of fine art, you would probably say the same thing, or most people would say the same thing. They'd be like, who paid for this?
This is Ryoma Ito, co-founder of Maker's Place, an online marketplace that sells NFTs. He teamed up with Christie's for the sale of BEEPLE's collage.
The big catalyst was the Christie's auction. That announcement brought in a lot of visibility in so many different channels.
To build anticipation for the Christie's auction, Ryoma teamed up with BEEPLE to sell some of his artworks for $1 each. It crashed the Maker's Place site.
At our peak, we had about 450,000 requests coming through at a second. So
day trader Keith Llewellyn was one of the lucky ones, buying the NFT for just $1.
So I learned about NFTs last week just before I posted this video on my TikTok. Then I followed the world's biggest NFT artist and noticed he was having an NFT drop where his work was going for only $1.
Key ended up with one of BEEPLE's artworks and was offered $50,000 for it the same day, but didn't take the offer.
I expected to expand like exponentially by the end of this year.
Instead of art collectors, many of the buyers at the moment are like Key, speculators and investors in this gold rush. Just like with cryptocurrencies, environmental and climate concerns are real. NFT transactions use significant, growing amounts of electricity. In a single month, one NFT marketplace went from 200 transactions a day to 5,000.
Oh my God.
And I honestly think that the sort of digital art community is gonna take this much more seriously, addressing these issues than sort of the broader blockchain community.
The question is, if this mania will keep going or come crashing down.
Well, what a great video. I really like this. I think it answered a lot of the questions that a lot of you guys are probably having and that myself, that I have. I think that's a really interesting point about how the art community may actually try harder to actually tackle these issues that the energy consumption that blockchain technology has brought upon us is having, as opposed to just the rest of the crypto world. And personally, I want to be on that part of history as well. So whenever I talk about crypto on my channel, I want to make sure that people understand the impact that it's having on the world. However, I do think that the decentralization of value, basically, which is how I view Bitcoin, for example, is a necessary next step for the world. And truly, the resources necessary to mine literal gold, for example, have a much harsher effect on the planet. So I don't know if that's the best argument against cryptocurrency. It is a real thing, but like I said, when we put it in context with how we mine actual gold, which is also basically worthless if we decide it's worthless, then I think it's justifiable. But one thing I want to highlight about this is the absurdity of his sale came from the fact that this 200-year-old auction house, Christie's, decided that it was worthwhile for them to auction this piece. And I think right then and there, like, that moment will be obviously marked in history. And the main reason why is because it's basically the old school accepting the digital world, or at least the old school accepting the new school, especially when it comes to art collecting. And I think BEEPLE said it best as well when he mentioned that when you look at most fine art pieces in the digital world, like, we're not even talking about NFTs, like let's say the Mona Lisa, for example, 99% of people will say, well, who would buy that? Like, why is it so expensive? So really the expensiveness comes from the scarcity and the perspective of the buyer. And this is why this movement, in my opinion, is here to stay. Sure, we may be in a bubble. Sure, 99% of projects are overpriced and are going to be worthless in maybe 10 years. But that doesn't mean that this isn't the future of art. And I'm personally very excited to see how we continue to use NFTs for creators, for example. I mean, I couldn't be more excited to continue to share information with you guys, my community. And I think in the future, I'll implement some sort of NFT into my channel, or who knows what. I love making art, and I also love building communities. So I feel like those two things play hand in hand together when it comes to an NFT. So let me know what you guys think of this video. This was titled BEEPLE Explains the Absurdity of NFTs, Business Insider. I figured this would be a great introduction to NFTs for my channel, and I want to continue to make more. So let me know what you think. Let me know your opinion. I would love to know what you think, and if this cleared up some confusion for you maybe. Of course, as always, if you had fun, if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel, join our community. We're literally learning about digital wealth and things in general every single day, and I couldn't be happier about it. I want to make a video on passive income with crypto as well, because I think that's going to be even more relevant to you guys, and I think it really will help a lot of you start earning some passive income without really risking much, at least in my opinion. I'll explain more in a different video, but let me know if you want to see that. And that's all I got for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Peace.